You are listening to the You, Me, and BTC podcast, the number one, the most entertaining, and the most wild and exciting Bitcoin podcast on the planet. Thanks for joining us today. Oh my goodness, we got lots of fun planned for today. The ultimate debate. Who is better for Bitcoin, Hillary Clinton or DJ Trump? That's the question we got coming up for today. And Tim and I got into a bit of an argument last night, had a little tussle. So, we got to hash it out and
little
see
text
who
tussle.
wins. Yes, exactly. Digital verbal argument. I am Daniel Brown, and that annoying voice that you've been hearing interrupt me is
Timothy Baker.
Yes,
Annoyer extraordinaire.
Before we get into this big question, I am real excited to announce and talk about a new sponsor we have, Satoshi Dice. This is the original and the best Bitcoin dice game. They've been around for years. They've got tons of users, and it is Satoshi Dice. If you've listened to the show before, you know I get a bit of a gambling bug now and then, and I love Satoshi Dice. It is provably fair. That's one of the number one things you need in a Bitcoin casino. You gotta know if they're cheating you or not, and they are able to mathematically prove that if you win, you win, and if you lose, you lose. You can set your own odds and see your potential winnings before you even roll. One thing that is really nice, they've been doing this from the beginning, it's one of the first things that made them popular, is on-chain gambling. It happens real quickly. It's also provably fair, and you can watch it happen on the blockchain without even visiting the website. That's a cool one. If you need free Bitcoin, they've got the faucet. You can play on your phone. And here's the real kicker. This is important. It's blocked in the U.S. That means only special people can play. People who are smart enough to not even be a part of this whole Trump-Hillary thing.
They got out long ago or never joined.
Exactly. They've reserved this for those of you who know better than to be.
Or you are a smart enough person, just have a VPN and then you can do it.
True. I'm not here to say whether that's legal or not. I do not know, but I'm sure that that's possible. So, whatever, at your own risk. To play, sd.umeandbtc.com, SD for Satoshi Dice, sd.umeandbtc.com. We'd love it if you went to check them out. It is awesome. All right, Tim, no frills again. I like asking you no frills questions because sometimes I ramble on too much. So here it is. No frills. Who's better for Bitcoin, Trump or Hillary? I caught you off guard.
Yeah, no frills. I think Obama. No, Bitcoin's the best, or Obama's the best answer for. The best answer for Bitcoin is Obama stays in office somehow and everybody freaking loses their mind, and then Bitcoin just jumps way up.
I mean, that wasn't an option, but it is definitely an interesting possibility.
That's always the best way, because you can't answer a wrong question, like a yes or no, if you just come up with a maybe or a third option. I'm just, for the sake of argument, I'm going to start out with, I think Hillary would be better for Bitcoin.
Okay. All right. So then maybe that brings in what we were maybe kind of arguing about last night, although neither of us was really making much sense. But do you want to bring that in here? Well, what was going down last night? What was I saying? This is bad. I'm allowing you to say what I was saying, so you could twist my words.
Daniel was saying all kinds of things. He was saying all lives matter. He was just texting it to me over and over again. Every single time I was like, but it's terrible. And no. Daniel was making the argument that Trump, as far as when we look at this, we're not, when we say the best candidate for Bitcoin, we're not saying the best candidate to lead the U.S. government.
Right.
Because we're hoping they don't get control of Bitcoin. So more we're looking at is who's going to run this fucking machine to the ground quicker, or at least make it limp along so Bitcoin starts to go up. Daniel's point is that he believes Trump is going to would be quicker to bring the system down, versus because he's seen as a radical and outsider, someone who's going to get stuff done, versus Hillary, who's seen as establishment type and a little bit more not. I mean, she's like more conservative to a statist viewpoint. She's not conservative as far as, well, I mean, technically she is, because liberal and conservative at this point don't really mean that much.
True. But yeah, that is weird. But I think it's the right word. It sounds weird, but I think it is the right word to say that Hillary is more conservative politically than Trump. Trump will go out there and he doesn't care about political correctness, and he'll say whatever he wants, do whatever he wants. He'll be liberal with his words and maybe his actions. I guess that's part of the question is it just words, or is he actually going to take some pretty crazy, wild actions? But on the other side is Hillary, who is just going to be, what I think, you're not even going to notice if Hillary is president. It's just going to be same old, same old. Yeah, they'll pass some dumb bills here and there. They might get health care through. They might do Common Core stuff. And, they're going to argue about it, whatever. And then there'll be a new president after 4 or 8 years. I don't think you're going to notice any change if Hillary is president. But I think you gave a pretty fair assessment of my view, Tim, which is that Trump will, I don't know, I think there's a decent chance that he could run things into the ground faster. I think there's a decent chance that he could start a much bigger war than the war on terror that we've been in for 15 years or whatever now. I think there's a chance that he will rile up the people, his own people, a lot more. I could see riots happening if he decides to do X, Y, or Z. I don't know. That's kind of what I see, but you think that's unlikely, Tim?
I don't think that happening is unlikely. I think that that's not something that's going to deviate from what normally occurs. Like, we're going to need a war from somebody. Hillary's pushing for stuff like a war against Russia versus Trump. I think, he does go back and forth, but Trump is more someone who is going to say stuff like, we got to bring the troops home, which doesn't really mean anything, because then in the next sentence, half the people say that we still need to defend our borders by having bases everywhere. But at the same time, like, the war on terror works completely fine, it seems, for Trump. And the war on terror is great for them, saying like the war on drugs is great because it's a war on your people. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Same thing with war on terror. You can't ever win or lose that. We haven't been in like a declared war since World War II. Everything after that has been a policing action, and this is just one step removed from a policing action. This is even less like, this isn't even like official policing action. It's just, there's all this stuff out here that might happen, so why don't we just make a bunch of laws to help us stop doing stuff? I think if you're going with a conservative viewpoint, I think are going to need something else. And Hillary, I think, has a little bit more of the that, like, she's a politician. Like, if she, this kind of goes into where I would argue that a president doesn't change that much, but you can see where politicians do get some stuff done, even if it's not officially. Like, you can look at how many people will go and talk about Hillary or stuff like that, and then they'll just kind of end up dead. So, I'm not going to say anything bad right now, Mrs. Clinton.
I love you. You're gorgeous.
Yeah, no, you're amazing. I love your little stutters you have on camera and the whole like passing out thing. But and I do kind of understand like the whole like, you look at Trump and everyone's saying like, oh, he's anti-establishment. He's going to come at things differently. He's going to do stuff differently, because like half of the country are the ones on Twitter posting racist frogs. They're now like, I saw a video the other day of some dude who has a Pepe the Frog tattoo, and he's like, I don't know what to do. It's on his wrist. He's like, I have a hate symbol on me now.
He's got to get, shell out the $4,000 for removal.
Yeah, just like, I don't want to look like a racist. He's like, I don't know what people are going to say, because you're probably going to get these like people watching CNN and be like, oh my God, this son probably, he goes out and kills people.
It's like someone who like got a swastika tattoo before they were associated with as much bad stuff as they were.
Yeah.
Like, like a 16-year-old before World War II who's like, I'm going to grow
20s,
up and join the army. Woohoo. And now he's like 70 or I guess much older than that. I don't know how many years it's been, but he's like, I swear I'm not a neo-Nazi. I swear. Please.
Is that my but yeah, so what was I saying?
Well,
I got distracted by
okay.
Pepe the Frog.
Yeah. We were still on kind of whether presidents get stuff done, whether
how actively a specific president, like, I guess what I would say, the way I'm looking at it is like, what's different that's going to happen when Trump's president versus, like, I feel like the same thing's going to happen no matter what, because it's not necessarily the president making the decisions. It's going to be someone above them. And if the president goes against them.
I know what you're talking about, how they're pretty much just puppets, right? I mean, they do what their donors say and what will get them more popularity and more money and stuff. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, that'd be where my argument would be.
Okay, so part of because you brought that up last night too, and part of the reason I tried to just dismiss that is because I don't care who's calling the shots. I don't care if they're just doing it because their donors say so, or because, some secret conspiracy round table of death bankers
Illuminati
is trying to tell them what to do. I don't care why or who is calling the shots. I still think that Trump is going to piss off more people, including his own people. They're going to make people mad at him, mad at the government. More, yeah, you're right. People got super mad at Obama in protests, whatever. And people, didn't follow much at when I was.
Yeah, when you were back then, it wasn't as much of a thing in your mind. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say all the way back with George Bush. I mean, yeah, I watch the news now and then.
How long?
And
2004, right?
He was, elected in 2000 for the first time.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is, yes, people protested, and yes, wars happened during, recent presidencies, but I still, maybe it is just the internet inundating me with this Trump is crazy stuff, whether they're saying he's crazy good or crazy bad. Yeah, you're right. The whole internet says Trump is crazy, and it's, probably not the best life philosophy to be trusting the internet. But I still have this feeling and belief. It just seems like, yeah, he's pretty freaking crazy, and he is going to piss off a bunch of people, and bad stuff is going to happen because of it. Now, he thinks he's going to win. He thinks that, yeah, it'll be crazy, and then we'll shut everyone down, and we'll be good. I think it's going to be a lot crazier for a lot longer. And I don't know. I really do. Regardless of who's calling the shots, I think he could do it a lot faster.
I can see where you get that as far as foreign people. Because, like, how we view another country, like, until you've been there, you kind of just go off of what you've seen in movies or seen, like, in the internet. So you just have this idea, like, Russia, it's just a bunch of crazy people driving in snow, and getting in accidents, and then fighting by pools. And so you can, like, you hear, like, people in other countries talking about Trump. They're just like, oh, all you Americans are insane and everything. My point, I guess, about Trump is I see him more as a talker. Like, everyone wants to say he's so much worse than what Hillary's done or what anyone else has done. Like, he's a racist, he's a bigot, he calls women fat. But it's like, it very well be because he hasn't been in the position to do them, but Hillary has literally voted for all these wars, has voted for all this stuff, has voted for all, like, all he has done is said stuff, and half of that is because he's running a business. Yeah. He's a business guy. So he knows how to talk.
That's actually, I think that's a really good point. I will agree with you a little bit there, because I have a pretty decent example. This floated around Twitter and whatnot. One of Trump's, all right, I got to find it. I'll be right back in about 2 seconds for you listening, and about 30 seconds for Tim. All right, here, I found it. I'm back now. All right, I found this quote, a good example of how you're right, Tim. Trump is just a talker. And this one kind of blew me away. I mean, people always say on the left and the right and the middle or outside the paradigm, whatever, everyone always says that, oh, politicians are dumb. They just talk through their asses, whatever. Like, everyone always says that, and it's kind of true. But in this case, it was just so disgustingly obvious. And like, what is the point of any sentence in this quote here? And here it is. It's Trump on cybersecurity. Quote, I have a son. He's 10 years old. He has computers. He is so good with these computers. It's unbelievable. The security aspect of cyber is very, very tough. And maybe it's hardly doable. But I will say we are not doing the job we should be doing. But that's true throughout our whole governmental society. We have so many things that we have to do better, Lester, and certainly cyber is one of them. Like, he just spent like 6 sentences saying cyber is important.
Yeah. So he sounds to someone under or above the age of like 50, he probably makes sense.
Yeah, they worship him like Reagan. I mean, it's like, my son is 10 years old. Computers, it's unbelievable, but cyber is important, Lester.
Like, he doesn't understand either.
Yeah. So I'll give you that. It's astonishing how much they'll say that means absolutely nothing. And that's where I guess that's probably the main point where I'll cede to you. Maybe you're right. Maybe he will come into office and literally nothing is going to happen. Maybe everything that he's saying is just talking. But I don't know. I mean, you start a wildfire with a little spark, right? That's from the Bible. If your tongue is a spark. So maybe his tongue could still set the whole world ablaze, don't you think?
I mean, we've already kind of set the world ablaze. I mean, you can argue all you want, like, don't put this man in control of nuclear weapons. Oh, wait, so we don't just keep on just droning children around the world just randomly? I wouldn't want to kill a bunch of people at one time. That'd be awful. But as long as we do it in like 60 people increments each day, that's cool.
Yeah, I chuckle because of the way you say it, but it's not really that funny.
No, I mean, it shouldn't be. Like, people are scared of... Actually, people use the quote you used, too. They're like, he doesn't understand security either. And then you look at the other side, and she's fucking just leaving emails open. And people are like, no, she just doesn't understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, Satoshi Dice is without a doubt the original and best Bitcoin dice game. At sd.umi and btc.com, you can sign up in seconds, set your own odds with the slider, and instantly start rolling the provably fair dice. You can even gamble directly on the blockchain. It's trusted, it's slick, and it's an absolute blast. Explore the dice game that started it all and win big at sd.umi and btc.com.
But I get, like, Trump being the talker thing, I think he does it almost, like, they all do it, and they all don't ever really answer a question. Or when they do, it's just like, it's like, that's impossible. We're going to provide, even like Bernie, just free college for everybody, and I can't do his voice at all. But Trump almost does it in this like way it's like halfway transparent. So like every time I look at him, I'm like, dude, you know what you're doing. You have to. And
well, exactly. Isn't that what makes him different? Is he knows that it's all calculated. He knows that it's all a joke, and he doesn't care. Like, doesn't that make a difference?
I don't think that he feels that the presidency is a joke, and like as that goes, I don't think that he thinks like politics are a joke or the system. I think he's old enough at this point that he's probably fucked up in the head, and he doesn't realize that it's been like this since he was like 15, or it's been like this since he was younger. So he's like, you know what? This is a problem now. I can do this. He's got so many people around him telling him he can do it, and he just is he's very good at talking. He's very good at and just saying it. He doesn't have to mean it as long as you say it. And he's very free with that. And he's a politician, but in the sense that he's kind of almost winking at you, being like, yeah, I don't really mean this. And then everyone like takes everything he says seriously. Like, oh, he's just going to bomb all the Muslims. I'm like, well, we're already doing that. So, but they're just like, we can't do this. I'm like, we're already doing way worse stuff. So what he does, if he even did the worst of what he says, it's still probably not that bad compared to what we're actually doing.
I guess that's true. I mean, yeah, building a wall is not as bad initially, is not as bad as droning Muslims or whatever for no reason. That's true, but I think the idea is that if he built the wall, things would escalate, people would get mad, and then we'd start droning Mexicans too. Maybe
just
stuff
right
like
along
that.
the border. Do you think there'd be much of a difference between there being a wall versus how there's a fence in parts now?
No. The wall isn't going to do anything, even if he did build it. I mean, they already build ramps and slingshots and tunnels, and the wall's not going to do anything.
I mean, people's reaction to it. I don't mean how effective it would be.
Reaction to it? No. It's. I mean, like you said, we already have giant squadrons of border patrol running around shooting brown people that move. I mean, no, I don't think it's going to be any worse than what we already do. But I think, like I said, I think it'll escalate and it will lead to much more radical action on both sides of the border, I think.
Okay. Again, that kind of goes with what I was saying about, and I can kind of see that to your point about how to foreign people or someone who's not like, I mean, you can make that. It's kind of weird to make that argument because even in Pennsylvania, it's not like I'm near these people. I'm just more around the commercials and stuff.
Oh, yeah. You talking about immigration?
No, I'm talking about just foreigners in general looking at the U.S. and like if there's a wall built that does look kind of worse than a fence. If you're not already in our culture where you're like, we already have a fence and guards, so true. Just making it concrete doesn't change it.
Yeah, we all know in America how the media will blow up whenever, a Muslim says 3 words about X, Y, or Z, about sexual orientation or something. And so you're right. Maybe it's very similar in other countries where as soon as somebody makes a decision in America, everything blows up over there and people get pissed off and stuff like that. Is that what you're getting at?
There's guns everywhere. Everyone just carries a gun. They're wearing cowboy hats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even people in Britain. I remember a girl I went to school with, her fiance was from Britain, and he came over and he literally thought that like a lot of people wore cowboy hats and like did shit like that because that's just like either the TV or just that's how like I feel like half of what I get as far as other people's culture are like cartoons or like that people's entertainment. And that kind of makes sense. And that's especially true for America because like how much, like pretty much all we produce is entertainment and shooting people. Like it's we just put our entertainment all over the world and then we send our military right after it.
Yeah.
So I can understand definitely. And also because if Trump gets in, it like 500 million movies are going to get made about how oppressive the wall is. And there's going to be like, it's going to be compared to the Berlin Wall. There's going to be so many Berlin Wall videos that come out or movies and like they're going to be breaking it down and you're going to have this dude at the end. It's like, Mr. Trump, tear down this. Yeah. Like, this is such a powerful message.
Yeah. So I completely agree with all of that. I mean, cultural ideas about other cultures are a huge factor. And because cultures are different, it's so easy for them to compete and for them to blow up, stereotypes on either side. So I agree with all of that. But what does that play into Trump, or Hillary driving the country into the ground and sending Bitcoin to the moon? Does that? It sounds like, and if that's true, it sounds like you're saying like, people really are going to go crazy about this wall. And so then doesn't that prove what I was saying that will be worse than whatever Hillary might do?
Possibly. I think it depends on who scares wherever most of the Bitcoin is. Like if who's going to scare China the most. And I mean, again, now that I'm thinking it like that, it could be Trump. I've never heard like China's position on it because he talks about stopping all these jobs to China, but that kind of just sounds like one of those like George Bush saying, read my lips, no new taxes. Like, it's just like, it's going to happen. You're not going to shut down all production in China. Walmart's going to go out of business. There's no way Walmart's letting that happen.
Yeah. There's no way he's going to outlaw Chinese labor or Chinese products. Yeah. But I don't actually think it even matters which country, goes to hell or gets ruined or gets mad at another country. I mean, for years we're already in like a global society. When Brexit happens, everyone goes crazy. When banks are limiting cash withdrawals in Greece or Cyprus or wherever, everyone goes crazy and Bitcoin goes up. I mean, I don't really care which country anything happens in, or which country thinks what about another country. I don't care if it's Mexico getting mad at us or us getting mad at Mexico. I don't think any of that's even relevant. I think as soon as people get mad, it's a lot of people are going to get mad all over the place. I will say, and I've said this before, I'm not apocalyptic. I don't think that everyone's going to get mad and the world's going to end. I even just said this last week. What I think is that everyone's going to get mad. It might last a lot longer than the last riot or the last, overthrow of some government person. It might feel worse. It might last longer. And then eventually we'll get, before long, we'll get back to some semblance of normality, but Bitcoin will just be worth a lot more. I mean... Yeah,
I get what you mean as far as anywhere it happens, it's going to put Bitcoin up. My argument would be that something like Trump is going to affect more, or not even something. What I'm looking at, I'm trying to figure out what country's getting pissed off is going to make Bitcoin go up the most over the longest period of time. And I think, like, China getting pissed off is a lot more, is going to affect the Bitcoin price a lot more than, say, Mexico or
right.
Europe,
right,
stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Mexico. No, there's never been any news about everyone in Mexico is buying Bitcoin now. Like, you're right. There's everyone talks about Bitcoin in China and whether it's legal or not, and the exchanges there, and who knows what. So I agree in that sense that, there's a ton of miners in China and they care about Bitcoin more, maybe. I don't have all like the specific details, but it doesn't matter which country's which. The point is, you're right. There are countries that are more invested in Bitcoin and that might make it go higher faster if they are threatened and feel the need to hold on to Bitcoin and use Bitcoin and buy Bitcoin or whatever. But actually, in that sense, if we're going to go there, I could almost see, and again, I don't have the data, but let's just assume it's China that has a crap ton of mining power. I don't know the numbers, and people always, talk about mining centralization or whatever. I don't care about the actual numbers or where exactly it is or who exactly is running it. But let's just say that it's China and they have the most miners, a ton of miners. If they really did feel threatened and started getting super heavily invested in Bitcoin, yes, the price might go up, but I could also see them kind of ruining it for that exact reason, because of centralization. It might start to be a thing that really only matters in China. They run it. They control it. I could see that happening a lot faster if they were pissed off and started seizing Bitcoin as a safe haven or something like that. Do you think that's remotely possible?
Yeah. I mean, I could see that.
So I guess then in terms of is it good for Bitcoin, that argument is just that, well, the price might go up, but overall it could easily be bad for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on how you're looking at bad for Bitcoin, because if it's
true.
Like in another country, who are you saying was going to seize the Bitcoin? I'm sorry, I was looking up.
China. Okay. Just as an example, I don't know who, but let's say China.
Yeah, that doesn't affect me that much, besides just meaning that there's less Bitcoin out there in private hands than there was before. So...
True. Yeah,
bad for Bitcoin, because if you said it could make the price go up, and I think that's
right. Well,
mostly
what I
we're
meant
looking at as far
by
as
bad
this
for
goes.
Bitcoin is if I guess if they were able to get enough mining power that they could, a 51% attack, or at least a really heavy influence on Bitcoin, that I think would clearly be bad. But there are a ton of Bitcoiners that would argue that that's impossible. That would argue that as long as they don't get 51%, and even if they do, there are safeguards in place, and really Bitcoin won't be hurting that much. And okay, maybe that's true. Maybe you're right. Maybe they will, quote, gain control of Bitcoin in a way, but it'll still be just as usable and free in other places. Maybe.
I zoned out whenever you were talking about that before, about them taking the money. I was looking up. I got a little bit paranoid. I was like, if we go to war with Russia, then Bitcoin out there, like, they'll be like, you can't send money to Russia, so they'll, like, be watching all our accounts. And I'm like, but wait, didn't Russia, like, ban Bitcoin, like, 5 times?
Oh,
so then I was looking that up, and then the only thing I found right off the bat was an article from, like, July, and then I was like, I should probably pay attention to what Daniel's saying again.
Well, we actually covered a story where is Putin the one in charge right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly he said something that sounded like it could be in support of Bitcoin. And I think we did half an episode or something about that. I don't remember all the details, but so I don't know. Maybe he does like Bitcoin. Who knows? Yeah, so that's Russia. I guess we can let's just try to come to some sort of conclusion here, Tim.
We can revisit our conclusions and just decide how we feel after the discussion. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did we end up with? I mean, you're still arguing that Hillary would do more because she's more likely to actually vote on a war or something, and Trump is just a talker. I mean, is that pretty much where you came from here?
Yeah, I'd say I'm still leaning that way. I do. I was thinking about it too, because like we said, Daniel started this on me like last night when I was drunk, and I was just like arguing with him until like 4 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my gosh, you sent me like 6 paragraph text messages.
I was like, no, you don't even understand the political process, Daniel.
I was like, this is a joke.
He said, I didn't mean to do this.
I'm sorry. I thought we were better than this.
But I do understand that. I understand the argument of, especially as a foreign, like the foreign view of Trump and the foreign view of if Americans elect a dude who was on a reality TV show for a long time, how that makes everything look a little bit weird. I can see how that kind of makes everything fall apart, which kind of falls in line with, I would even argue that's almost better because it does make everything look like a joke, and instead of wanting to put more money into a government thing, you'd go for Bitcoin. So Daniel is kind of, he's given me something to think about, something to, and in the end, it doesn't really matter in the end, but he's made something else for me to just sit at night and be like, I can't fall asleep because I don't know what's going to happen. Everyone around me insane, and they're like, well, this person's crazy, and the other people are like, this guy's crazy, and they're like, but this one's more crazier. So that's what I've gotten to.
That's kind of what I meant when I said I thought we were better than this, where it's like, I thought we knew that it wasn't worth arguing about this crap. And so here we are. We just did a whole episode about it. So I guess we're not better than it. But no, actually, I did kind of mean to say this at the beginning, that I know a lot of our listeners, are better than Trump and Hillary. And okay, all of them are. and they know that this is kind of pointless, kind of dumb, kind of not worth arguing about. We've been inundated with it lately. So I meant to apologize for that to some extent at the beginning of the show. But it's also kind of dumb to apologize in advance, because if you were really sorry in advance, then you wouldn't do it if you already knew that you were going to be sorry in advance. So maybe I'm not sorry. Maybe I'm just excited about Trump versus Hillary. I don't know. But there it is. There's your episode. There's our argument. We'd love to know what you think. Leave us a comment on YouTube. We've been getting tons of comments on YouTube lately. I love it. Tons of thumbs up on YouTube. And if you want to subscribe, you can totally do that. But if you're somewhere else, Spreaker, or just follow on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, you, me, and BTC, just search for us. You should find us. But before we wrap up, we're about done, but before we wrap up, it is time for the best segment of every week, the most important segment of every week, Advice of the Week. What is going to change in the next 7 days that you did not know about or think about? What proverbs do we have for you that's going to change your behavior for this next week? What do you got, Tim?
I mean, I definitely have a proverb. I shouldn't introduce it like that, but fuck it. Anyway, this last weekend I went up to Columbus and saw a comedy show. The comedian's bit, I'm not really ruining anything because he's been doing it for about 12 years, probably. It's Joe Rogan. He kind of his overarching theme for his rambling like hour and a half, which is really good. If you can go out and see it. I guess that's my part of the advice is go see a Joe Rogan comedy show because everything's crazy right now. People are losing their minds over stupid shit. Go laugh. But he says, like, everyone takes everything so seriously. They're freaking about Trump versus Hillary and all this stuff, and then no one thinks just sit down and you just go, we're fucking flying through space on a rock. We're in a fucking convertible in space. The universe is above us. It's all around. Nobody has any idea what's going on. We're just spinning around this fireball in the sky that if you look at for too long, gets you blind. If you don't have it on you, you get sad, and it's trying to give you cancer. So quit taking stuff so seriously. Don't be fighting people because they support a different politician. Don't punch someone because they have a different sports team. Everyone just be a little bit less of a dick. We're out in space, lost on a space, like a giant terrestrial spaceship. So there you go.
Man, that's good stuff. I don't know if I can top it. I mean, actually,
it's my one time of actual good advice.
Honestly, I actually don't think I'm going to try. I don't want to ruin the vibe right there. So I'm just going to reiterate that and say that I completely agree. So some of my favorite moments in life are just sitting on the porch with a cigar, just thinking how crazy that leaf is over there. So it's crazy, and sometimes crazy can be good and crazy can be bad. But when it's as crazy as a leaf or a tree or a lamppost, when it's that crazy, because obviously that's freaking crazy. It's mind-blowing.
Insane, man.
When it's that insane, you realize it's kind of cool. It's kind of good. Let's relax some. Let's stop taking stuff so seriously and just think about crazy stuff. Because lampposts, no joke, they can be pretty crazy sometime.
It's crazy, bro.
Oh, man. All right. I guess that's about how we're going to close it. So thanks for joining us today, guys. Make sure you check out Satoshi Dice, sd.u, me, and btc.com. We'd love it for you to give them a shot. And we'd love it for you to come back next Thursday. John might be with us again. I don't know. He's been busy lately. But if you miss him, come back next Thursday and you might have him back. Or you can just be listening right now for the music that you're hearing, which is his. Maybe that'll tide you over and make you feel better for him not being here.
He's here with us musically and in spirit.
That is John Stewart's amazing music. Thanks for that, John. And we will see all of you wonderful, gorgeous, exciting, crazy people next Thursday. Peace.
Bye-bye.